There it is. There it is. There's that fucking ding.
Good morning, James.
It dinged twice. Why? Good morning, Matthew. I'm
We're
trying
1 week into the Trump presidency. How do you feel?
Terrible. Just I am dissociating on the regular, because every time I come out of dissociating, something else is put in front of me that is awful, that is immediate and urgent. And it's something that most of us are powerless to do much about.
Individually, we are. If we could wake up some more people and all go together, we can make change. But I don't know. That's a long shot.
Yeah.
All right. So Trump was not. We didn't do an episode last week because we were going to wait until after the inauguration so we could have stuff to do, and then we just never got around to it. So.
But we got snowed in. There was a fucking blizzard.
Yes, there was down for you in Florida. Not much snow up here, although it got very cold in northwestern Pennsylvania. But anyway, the inauguration happened 6 days ago at this point. We're recording this on January 26th. A couple days before the inauguration, Trump asked for it to be moved inside. He cited the cold. Was it really about the cold, James?
No, it wasn't about the cold. Jesus
I think he knew the crowd was going to be small and his ego couldn't take it. But the big thing about the inauguration was the Elon Musk speech, and this has been all over social media in the week since. When Elon concluded his speech, where he spoke behind a lectern, podium, with the presidential seal on it, he gave a fucking Nazi salute. You're not going to gaslight me and tell me it wasn't.
No, in fact, okay, if we need a metric for what constitutes a Nazi salute, it's when the government of Germany, who has outlawed that symbolism, prevents a group known as Led by Donkeys from projecting an image of Musk doing his little thing onto the side of the Tesla factory in Berlin. They broke the law. They're facing criminal charges for displaying a picture of Musk doing his thing, not embellished, not touched up, not AI. It's the image, and it's illegal to display it because it's a fucking Nazi salute.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why you wouldn't think Elon Musk would do a Nazi salute. He regularly reposts anti-Semitic propaganda on Twitter regularly.
Yep. And his fucking response, his official response on Twitter was to use Nazi puns to brush off the accusation.
Right.
I'm done debating this with people. I'm not debating this anymore. You are what you are, and you are going to be called what you are, and you're going to be held responsible for what you are, and you're going to get your fucking asses beat down for what you fucking are.
Also this week, Elon Musk spoke with the AfD party in Germany. That's their far-right party. And he told them that they should not be ashamed of their history, that they should be proud of it. Their history is literally Hitler. So why would you think Elon Musk wasn't doing a Nazi salute? Of course he was.
How and this is the other thing too, is there I on another person's post on TikTok, I asked the question, how is the government of Germany allowing him to do business in Germany? And it looks like there are EU officials that are seriously taking to task the idea that he should be disallowed from doing business in Germany. I think that would be beautiful. It'd be awesome.
There was a bright spot in the inauguration when they had the inaugural mass at the National Cathedral. The Bishop Marriane Budde, I've seen people pronounce that Budde.
Mm-hmm. She pronounces it Budde.
Yeah, all right, there you go. She presided over the mass, and she spoke to Trump directly and called him out and asked him to have mercy on immigrants in the LGBTQ community.
Called him out called him out in the most Jesus gently way imaginable.
That was still pretty brave.
Absolutely.
Some other things about Bishop Budde there. She several years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers Matthew Shepard. Matthew
Mhm.
Shepard was a young gay man that got murdered in Texas, I want to say. And it was a hate crime. And his parents were afraid to bury him because they had a funeral and it was protested by right-wing assholes. And they were afraid to bury him because they were afraid his grave would get desecrated. And Bishop Budde arranged to have him brought and buried in the National Cemetery. So
yeah, his remains are interred there. He was murdered in Laramie, Wyoming, by the way.
Oh, Wyoming.
Yeah,
that's a long ways from Texas.
it's a long, yeah, but the stench is still the same.
Yeah. Well, anyway, when Trump was asked about the service, he just said, "Oh, it wasn't a very good service," because he has the vocabulary of a 6-year-old.
God.
All right, so before we get into this next part, we're going to talk about his day one executive orders. We're a week into his presidency. What are the price of eggs where you live?
I haven't bought eggs in a couple of weeks, but a couple of days, and it was $8 and change for a dozen.
So they didn't get cheaper, did they?
Oh fuck no, they went up.
Yeah, and gas around here since the inauguration is up about 15 cents where I live.
Yep, we're up about 25 cents here, about to break the $3 mark, which we haven't broken in over a year.
Yeah, fuck you. 356 up here. But Pennsylvania has the highest gas tax in the nation. This is an aside, but that gas tax in Pennsylvania was instituted when we had a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh, I want to say. And they're like, "Oh, we need to rebuild our infrastructure." This is about a dozen years ago. So they instituted a more tax on gas to rebuild the infrastructure. But a couple of years later, the assembly changed where that money goes, and now it goes to the state police instead, and our infrastructure still crumbles.
Holy shit. Jesus fucking Christ.
Guess what party controls our assembly? Although actually now the Democrats do control half of it.
Yeah, but when the decision to reallocate that money elsewhere and continue it, it was the Republicans that
True.
pushed that through.
True. So nothing has been done to lower prices on anything by Trump a week in. But he did do a bunch of other stupid shit and some evil shit. He did sign an executive order changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. So presumably printers are now printing all new maps for the military and others.
No, the fuck they aren't. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, what a fucking waste.
He also defined the government's position that there are only two genders.
Boy, they fucked that one up, didn't they?
Sort of.
Yeah, determined at conception. At conception, we're all female.
Yeah, we're also all assholes before we're anything else.
That's true.
We're not going to explain that. Look up how humans develop in the womb.
Yes.
He put the staffers in the DEI office of the federal government on paid leave, en route to firing them because he wants to get rid of DEI initiatives. By the way, Target recently got rid of their whole DEI initiative.
Oh, on this, I want to point something out. I'll put the link up, the URL, the email address up in the final YouTube post of this podcast. But there is a DEI reporting tip line that he set up, and people are spamming it with porn and all sorts of irrelevant shit. Take that email address down and send every bit of foul anything you can think of to that fucking email address. You have your mission.
There you go. He also declared an energy emergency and wrote a dissertation on what that means. What that means, if you boil down to it, is that the federal government will hand out leases to oil companies to drill wherever the fuck they want, regardless of EPA protections or anything, because it's an emergency. And he said they'll use eminent domain to seize land for drilling if needed. That's crazy.
I want to point something out about this. all that land in the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge and that region of the country has been surveyed by oil companies for the past 30 years. They've surveyed it and they have determined that it's not cost effective to drill there. They don't want to drill there. They won't be drilling there. There's no drilling that's going to happen because the oil companies are the ones that make the fiduciary decision as to where it is economical to drill. And they long ago determined that that area ain't worth it. So this is...
Well, not only that, I mean, if Trump does, like Trump said, he wants to get gas under $2 a gallon. Well, to do that, the price of oil is gonna have to fall to like $20 or $30 a gallon or a barrel.
Yep.
And then it might not even be cost effective for them to drill anywhere at that price.
Yeah.
American production of oil will plummet.
Yeah, the refineries will scale back. The blue collar workers will be laid off. The obsession people have with this, who also claim to be the heroes of the working class, the blue collar worker, who votes Trump most of the time, by the way, again, shooting themselves in the foot. They don't have any understanding of fucking anything.
Yeah, so he's asked Saudi Arabia and OPEC to increase production to lower the prices, but that's only going to hurt American drilling. So that's going to backfire. He banned the federal government from using resources to abridge the free speech of any American. We'll see how long that continues because the Secret Service did show up at a school in Chicago this week to talk to an 11-year-old who posted some stuff on social media that was anti-Trump. I didn't see what he actually posted. Did you?
No, I didn't. I've been looking and looking, and I'm hoping somebody comes up with it and I can rely on the source.
I mean, it had to be something worse than what we normally say because the Secret Service hasn't been to my house yet.
Maybe, but who knows? But the school disallowed entry to the Secret Service agents that were there. And also, they intended to drag this boy out for questioning without his parents present, aware, or anything involved in it. Fucking crazy.
Yep. Well, in line with that, banning the government from abridging free speech, he asked the DOJ to investigate the Biden administration to see if they did that. Because he feels like they were involved in getting him banned from Twitter, I think. And he pardoned over 1,000 of the J6 insurrectionists.
There was a reporter that was asking him about that shortly after he did it, and they began the question by saying, "Do you agree that it is criminal to assault a police officer under any circumstances?" He said, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do." And they said, "Well, how do you justify pardoning so and so who tased and beat the shit out of a police officer?" He says, "Oh, well, we'll have to look at that." Excuse me, you pardon somebody without fucking looking at it? God, I'm pissed off. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is, how can he say that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for January 6th and that it was Antifa members in disguise that committed January 6th, but then also pardon all the people that are in prison for it because they support him?
Yep.
How does that work?
It's fucking insane. And now he's talking about I guess he invited Stuart Rhodes, who's one of the fucks that he commuted the sentence of or pardoned, to the White House. And the judge who oversaw his conviction said, "Not so fucking fast. You're not going anywhere without my permission," and is not going to give Stuart Rhodes permission to go to DC. So these people, and then you got the dude with the fucking Viking horns, whatever the fuck that idiot's name is. First thing he said is, "I'm going to go out and buy me some guns."
Yeah.
Of course he did. And then there was another guy who already had 2 felonies on his record, who was one of the J6ers, who got pardoned, went out and immediately committed a crime. 3 strikes and you're out. That motherfucker's back behind bars. These people are going to, for the most part, they're going to take care of themselves. They're going to put themselves back behind bars because they're all worthless pieces of shit.
Yeah, well, the ones that are free are probably going to show right back up to disrupt the next inauguration if we elect somebody that's not Trump next time.
Yeah. If you run across one of these pardon J6ers in the street, take a baseball bat and beat him in the head. I'm not even fucking kidding. Just take them out. I'm not fucking around anymore.
Yeah, you might find yourself in trouble if you do that.
I don't care. I'll take one for the fucking team.
All right. He also signed an executive order ending birthright citizenship, which he can't really do because that's in the Constitution. But he did ask for Congress to pass an amendment to modify the 14th Amendment and take out birthright citizenship. 22 states have already filed a lawsuit against that. But here's what I don't think he's thinking about. If there isn't birthright citizenship, then his vice president's wife is an illegal alien.
Well, hang on, because his executive order said from this point forward. So everybody's grandfathered in.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it is scary. I don't know how many, you need 34 states to amend the Constitution, but how many states have Republican-controlled Congresses? Blue states, with Democrat governors, do have Republican-controlled Congress. Pennsylvania was one until the last election. So that's scary. That could actually happen.
Hang on, I'm checking. How many states have Republican-controlled Congresses? Now, you're not talking about a constitutional convention, right? You're just talking about an amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, just an amendment. By the way, while you're looking that up, the last amendment that was passed to the Constitution was the Equal Rights Amendment, which Biden declared had been adopted right before he left office. Now, it's true that 34 states did ratify it, but some of those states later took back their ratification, and so it's going to be fought out in the courts of whether it's actually ratified or not. But my question is, what fucking lawyer is going to court and saying, I am so against equal rights that I'm going to fight the ratification of this amendment? That is despicable.
It really is. The numbers are 29 and 19, by the way. 29 Republican,
so
19
They
Democrat.
probably don't have the votes to amend the Constitution, so that's good.
Thank fuck.
So that won't happen. This next thing he did is actually frightening. He ordered that the CDC and FTC and all federal agencies can no longer warn the public about things. So this CDC regularly warns the public about outbreaks of diseases. The FTC regularly issues recalls and warns people about food safety issues. And Trump ordered that they're not allowed to do that anymore because he's afraid that something they say might contradict his talking points.
It's fucking crazy.
So I'm going to say this. You cannot trust the food now. You've seen how many times there's been listeria outbreaks and stuff in the food supply.
Yep.
Those are going to continue to happen, and you're not going to know about it. That's frightening. I hope there are rogue people at the FTC and CDC that continue to report this stuff.
There ought to be, but Jesus Christ.
All right, so Trump has started installing his cabinet. You said on an episode a couple months ago that there was no way Pete Hegseth was going to be confirmed to be Secretary of Defense.
How quickly the landslide of filth in this country just...
This guy admits he's an alcoholic. He's got numerous sexual assault allegations. He's only a major in the National Guard. And I'm sorry to all the National Guardsmen out there. The National Guard is not the same as the Army. Okay? So a major in the National Guard doesn't even have the experience that a major in the Army has. And a major in the Army is not qualified to be Secretary of Defense. Majors only command maybe battalions, but usually a company. And that's
well, you don't have to be. Qualifications are not a thing anymore. It's just about which members of your favorite political party will benefit from putting you in there. There's nothing about qualifications in this shit anymore.
Right, but someone who doesn't have the qualifications and gets the job anyway is gonna fuck it up. So that's also frightening.
Yeah, well, every one of Trump's fucking cabinet picks are unqualified for the positions they're being pushed into. Every fucking one of them. You can't name one that is highly qualified to be there just based on their credentials.
That's true.
They've destroyed the integrity of so many branches of the government at this point. It's unbelievable.
Kristi Noem, South Dakota's governor,
the dog killer.
Yeah, she's the Secretary of Homeland Security, which yes, she can protect us from puppies that are hard to train. We know that, but what else? I don't know. I don't know. The Secretary of Homeland Security is in charge of a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And they're on the National Security Council.
On the upside, it's looking like, and I'm not going to make any fucking predictions about this, Tulsi Gabbard might not have the votes to be confirmed. Yeah,
we'll see. I think it's important to know that Mitch McConnell voted against Pete Hegseth. That's interesting.
Well, the vote was split, and it took JD Couch fucking Vance to break the split and nominate that son of a bitch.
Yep. Yeah, 3 Republicans voted against it. Mitch McConnell was one of them.
Oh, since we're on
the speech after too, where he passionately explained why he voted against Pete Hegseth. I hate agreeing with Mitch McConnell, but he was right about that one.
Since we're on the SecDef tangent of this, one of Trump's orders also ordered the Air Force to stop teaching about black and female pilots, specifically naming the Tuskegee Airmen. And just if I don't show up to work on Tuesday, I'm off on Sundays and Mondays, and come into a fucking memo from the leadership of the base that I work on, pushing back on this, I have serious questions about continuing to do the work that I do. Let me remind people that when the Roe v. Wade debacle happened and Trump got Roe v. Wade overturned, the response from the military leadership on the base that I work on in the tangent of Department of Defense was immediate. The pushback was immediate. There was a memo the next morning saying that the military will continue to provide women the full spectrum, women in the armed forces, the full spectrum of healthcare services that they're entitled to. So there was immediate pushback. If there is an immediate pushback to this blatantly racist and misogynist and bigoted executive order, the people should be questioning their allegiances.
I agree. About that pushback, though, he also fired 12 inspectors general from various agencies. Mm-hmm. If you don't know what the inspectors generals do, they basically make sure the agency is following the law and following policy and not doing, evil shit. That's basically what they do. They're who you go to when you have a complaint about being mistreated, and that's their job. And most federal agencies have one, if not all. And Trump is fired a dozen of them so he could put people in that are more allegiant to him.
Yeah. So, and also to remove a significant check and balance against the executive branch that works to prevent the executive branch from abusing their powers. I did see an actual response letter that came from an individual within the group of IGs that is responsible for representing them, that pointed out to the person who sent the memo out that said that their positions were terminated, that they can't do that. There was a 2022 act signed by President Biden that requires that Congress is the one to, and Congress has 30 days once the the case for removing any IG is made, they have 30 days to make the decision to remove that IG. It's Congress that does this, not the fucking president, not via a limp dick executive order. And I don't think that's going to go very far, but we shall see.
Yeah, well, they need 4 Democrats in the Senate to vote against stuff. I mean, 4 Republicans in the Senate to vote against stuff. I don't know.
Well, I haven't even seen
3 against Texas. They need 1 more.
But I haven't even seen Congress take this up. Like, it should be that this is on Congress's agenda to take up the president's desire to fire these IGs. That isn't even on the radar.
It's not. The House. All he has to do is call one of his sycophants in the House, and they will bring it up.
Yeah.
Because the House did introduce a bill to give him a 3rd term, which also requires an amendment to the Constitution, so they can't just do that. but it has been proposed in the House.
But if they did pass that, guess who could run in the next election? Barack Hussein Obama.
But not the way they worded it. Not the way they worded it, because they said you could serve a 3rd term only if you didn't serve 2 consecutive terms already.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They worded it to take care of Obama.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So only Trump and Grover Cleveland would be eligible.
Are we willing to place a solid bet that this is not going to see the light of day? It's not going to pass.
It won't. It requires an amendment to the Constitution. They don't have the votes for that.
Okay, so we can say I'm just grasping at straws here. I need to be able to say this is not going to happen, and everybody can just calm down about it.
That's not going to happen. I don't think he's going to survive this term. I really don't.
You mean physically?
And I'm not saying somebody's going to take him out. Although, all right. So before Biden left office, there was a Israel-Hamas ceasefire announced, and they've done some hostage exchanges. I like how the Hamas gives up 4 hostages and they get 50 of their prisoners back. I like the exchange rate. But Trump has been talking about. First of all, Trump took credit for it somehow. I don't know how. Because it happened when Biden was still in office, and it was the ceasefire that Biden wrote and had negotiated months earlier that Israel just didn't adopt. They just ended up adopting it.
Yeah.
But what Trump's involvement since has been, he's trying to get Jordan and Egypt to take in the Palestinians so that they can clean up Gaza. Was the words he used.
Clean it out.
Clean it out.
Clean it out.
Now, if that ain't some racist bullshit.
Oh yeah, he's looking at it through the lens of a fucking property manager, and he wants to build his hotels and casinos and get the fucking. And he says we can't do that with the people that live there. He said that.
Right. It's wild. I don't know, and I'm just gonna say this to everybody that's listening: you're not having an appropriate reaction to this. You're not.
Agreed.
We all need to be screaming about this every day, every
Agreed.
single fucking day. If you're just going about your life hoping that other people are going to take care of it, they're not. This is what happened in Germany. Millions of Germans saw what the Nazis were doing, but they didn't try to stop it. They weren't Nazi supporters, but they were afraid to try to stop it, and they didn't. And that's exactly what's happening now.
And then eventually they came for you. And that's going to happen in this case. They're going to come for you.
I have seen a handful of emails and social media posts from Trump supporters that have been affected. Like there was one guy whose wife had taken a job at the VA, and then after the inauguration, when Trump froze hiring and DEI programs at the VA, she lost her job that she hadn't even started yet. And he wrote on social media that he knows, I know this was an unintended consequence, Mr. President. No, the fuck it wasn't. We've been telling you. He doesn't give a fuck about you either.
Mhm.
I don't know if any Trump supporters listen to us. They probably don't. But he doesn't give a fuck about you. Well, we do have Boris over in Russia. Putin doesn't give a fuck about you either.
Boris. Das Vidanya.
So yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That is just appalling. All right, James, we've come to the end, unless you have something more of import.
It's never the end, Matthew. We go on in perpetuity. Oh, I woke up this morning completely forgetting that today for me is 38 years clean and sober. 38.
Congratulations, James. That's a huge accomplishment.
That's a lifetime. It's a fucking lifetime. This is going to sound kind of morbid, but I have been sober longer than my mother was alive.
Wow.
I'm, and I don't think about this at any other time of the year. It stopped being a daily struggle for me a long, long time ago. I almost don't feel like there was a daily struggle because I had to make immediate and rapid changes in my life, and I was motivated to do it. And therefore, there was a sense of urgency for me about it. And people often ask, what was the motivation? What flipped that switch? For me, it was simple. It was the fact that my actions and things that led up to me waking up in jail 38 years ago today hurt somebody in my family that was important to me at that time. It devastated my grandmother, and that was literally all it took. There was nothing else that I needed to decide to do an about face and get my shit.
It's awesome that you had family that was there to motivate you that way.
Well, but then again, the family never supported, because I remember when I got my 1 year anniversary, I was in an outpatient treatment program, and there was a big fucking ceremony for that 1 year anniversary. And my father and his wife, who's not my mother, showed up at this 1 year anniversary. They were present for it. And then my counselor told me that after the ceremony that my dad pulled my counselor aside and said, "We think he needs to go to inpatient treatment." I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
After you were successful for a year, he thought you needed.
Yeah, I need to go to inpatient treatment. So I didn't have family support. I didn't have anybody's support. I had the support that I had came from my peers in the treatment program and the recovery program that I did NA and AA for a while, for probably 3 or 4 years, but I didn't feel the need to continue it in perpetuity, but the support that I got from people in those programs was key. I couldn't have done this myself, and I knew that I didn't have family support. I had no family supporting me in this. And so it became important for me to find peers that understood whatever it was that was important to me at that time. And that's where my support was in the peers of the programs that I was in. So, yeah.
That's good. So if you're listening and you have struggles, here's a success story right here. You can do it.
Yes, you can.
Too.
Yep.
It seems silly to follow that up with the weather report.
Absolutely not. This is fucking relevant.
Tell us about what it's like when you get 8 inches of snow in the Florida Panhandle.
Well, what was it, 3-4 days ago? I woke up to 8 inches of snow outside my door, and I'm in fucking Shalimar, Florida, which is the Panhandle, southern Alabama, basically. That hasn't happened here since I think the 1920s. And finally today, it's back to where I can go outside barefoot again, and there's grass, and it's almost 60 degrees already today. But it was fucking awful. My dog has never seen that before. She didn't know what to do. She was terrified, and I had to take her out there and reassure her that it wasn't going to hurt. But yeah, it was fucking awful. I hated it. And of course, down here, the infrastructure isn't built for it. Bridges galore around here, and those bridges are absolutely unsafe to travel on when it's those conditions below freezing. So this entire part of the country just shut the fuck down, which I kind of liked, but I couldn't go anywhere either because the roads were impassable.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to the snow that you've gotten this past year up there. You've been.
Yeah, but that was back in November. We didn't, when you were having 8 inches, we had like 2 inches, although it was really cold. We got below zero for a couple days.
Yeah.
Which was rough. But we're back up into the 20s now. So it's nice.
Up into the 20s.
Perspective is everything.
I have no use for that.
But all right, we both watched a show. We watched all 4 seasons of it. I want to talk about it. The Killing.
Oh, yes.
You had suggested it. This is an old show, so spoiler alert, but it's old. It's from 2011. We're going to spoil it. My thoughts were, the first 2 seasons I thought were amazing. I loved it. The 3rd season, I felt like they went to an alternate universe. It was like all different characters. I mean, the 2 main characters were still there, but everything, like the police department was all different cops. And then the mayor was a main story driver in the first 2 seasons. They're looking for a serial killer, and they never had an occasion to go talk to the mayor until the end, where he abandoned all of his principle to cover up the fact that a cop was the serial killer. That was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember because I binged so much shit, it all gets muddled in my head. But now I remember how the premise of season 3 went. Yeah.
That didn't fit. I just didn't feel like that fit. And then the 4th season was all about, actually, maybe he didn't even show up till the 4th season. The 4th season was all about the 2 of them like going crazy, kind of.
Yeah, and they brought, wasn't a mayor. Was he a congressman or a mayor? The guy was in a wheelchair.
In Seattle.
Yeah, and so they brought him back at the last scene of the 4th season.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just to say, yeah, we know it was that cop that committed all those crimes, and we know you murdered him, but that would be bad for public image of the police department, so we're going to cover it up.
Yeah, that was a bit of a scramble, but
that wasn't his character, because his character in the first 2 seasons was all about being very principled and standing up for his principles.
Well, but how often does that happen where you get some naive person entering into politics and only a couple years in they're as corrupt as the fucking night is long?
I suppose, but it seemed like a sudden switch and it didn't fit. I did not enjoy the 3rd and 4th seasons like I did the first 2.
Oh, okay.
But the first 2 were amazing. I loved them. It was great.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the series called Severance?
Yeah, I'm all up to date on Severance. Don't spoil season 2 yet. That's just happening.
Oh, so you haven't started watching season 2 yet?
I have. I've watched both episodes that are available for season 2.
Okay, that's all I've seen too.
But our listeners may not have.
Oh, okay. I'm loving it. I
love it too.
It feels like I'm way late to it, but then I realize that it's ongoing right now, and I'm definitely digging it.
It is good. It's very good. It's a mystery. There's a mystery involved. Yeah, it's very interesting.
It reminds me of, in some ways, Westworld. Westworld, the series, that got very convoluted and it really jumped the shark a few times. But there's aspects of this that remind me of Westworld, because I'm still not clear on Lumen and how they got to this, and I understand what the utility of the severed person is in this company, but what does the company do?
We don't know.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. I thought maybe I missed something.
There's a lot of speculation, but nobody knows. So I want to talk about Westworld because I watched the first 2 seasons and then I didn't watch any more of it because people started talking about how it got bad. Is it worth it to watch?
I think it is, because I watched the first 2 seasons when they came out.
Me too.
And then I started watching the 3rd season and I got distracted and left it alone for years. And then I went back I think it was last year, and I got all of the seasons and watched all of it. Because at the point where Aaron Paul becomes more of a central character, that's where I was like, what's really going on here? And I kind of fell away from it, but I jumped back into it, and I'm happy I did. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting back into it. And you started watching Landman, right?
I did. I watched all of it.
Okay.
There's 10 episodes. I watched all of it. That's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have to wait years for a season 2.
Yeah, I kind of feel dirty liking it and I also liked Yellowstone, and I don't like the fact that I liked it because the guy that produces that shit, Taylor Sheridan, he's a fucking MAGA piece of shit chode motherfucker. Can't stand him. He's an arrogant piece of shit, and he puts himself in the series in Yellowstone in like the last season.
Well, you didn't give him any money, so
right. I steal shit from the internet, and I don't pay for streaming services. I don't go to theaters. I steal shit from the internet.
I don't think you should be so nonchalant about that, but okay.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna fucking do?
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. We got a note from somebody they can't hear us on Twitch.
What?
Yeah, somebody said that in the cool kids table.
There's no reason for that. Streaming is
anyway.
on.
We can figure that out another time. Let's wrap it up.
God damn it. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Twitch.
All right. So, welcome to even the more dystopian dystopia. And that we're going to keep you abreast on everything that's happening going forward.
And I'm going to get angrier and angrier as each episode progresses. And if you're not matching my energy, you need to get your fucking head checked. Not you. I'm talking about the viewers. If you're not matching the fucking energy you see from us and from me, get your fucking head examined.
Right.
That's
right.
Nice. Anyway.
Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Leave us a review. We are on all the podcast apps. We're on YouTube. I don't know where you're hearing this or seeing this, but we're on Twitch too.
Yep. We'll get the audio thing figured out. Go out and bash Nazis in the head. Every opportunity you see them, take them out.
Yeah.
Have a day.
Bye.
All right. Peace out.